Yeah, but this one's interesting because why more Americans are going child free? I don't know. This will be interesting.
We got married fairly young, and we both just decided for many reasons we didn't want kids. And then at some point we heard the acronym.
I think a lot of people, I'm going to turn it up a little bit too. I think a lot of people in today's world just genuinely don't want kids because of the new, like, the world that we're in. Things are just a lot different now than they were before. I mean, yeah, sure, I have a kid, but I definitely think people that don't want kids or whatnot, I mean, totally fair.
And I think just really fell in love with it.
There are more Americans that are deciding not to have children, and it's purposeful.
This new trend has led to the rise of a new type of household, more commonly referred to as DIGs, dual income, no kids.
Oh yeah, dual income, no kids. That's perfect for us. That's absolutely right.
Children are the death of net worth. Pretty crude, but honestly very true.
I think it just depends what you value in life. If you are somebody who cares about the value, physical things, your car, your house, if you really, really value that stuff so much, a kid probably won't be the best idea because it is a very, very expensive thing that happens in your life. Like, having a kid isn't cheap regardless of if you have help from other people or not. Like, it's very expensive. And if you're I forget what it exactly is called, where you value like physical things, materialistic, then, that's fair. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And as bad as that lady makes it seem, no, 100%. Most of the people too that have their misconception about kids have never had kids themselves or grew up as an only child. I'm very guilty of that. I had a very different view on kids, like growing up before, I got into my 20s.
Household configuration of dual income partners living alone without children is on the rise. In 2022 is around 43% of households.
I do also think that now people are just a lot more, it's weird because I feel like as society we're so much more like sheep-like, but I do feel like a lot more people are just kind of open-minded. Like, people had kids because that was the normal thing to do. It was normal to go to college, have kids, work, retire, die. Like, it nowadays people, like, they're cool with just reinventing the wheel, not going to college and going to do a trade instead, or not having kids and being a huge animal person. Like, everybody is now just a lot more free-spirited, which I think is good. You should be able to do whatever the fuck you want.
And that's about a 7%
fuck whatever people say.
an increase from
I'm sorry, I missed this. Hold on. What was this? 43% of households were dual income without children in 2022. Yeah, I mean, listen, we also are definitely on the edge of, like, too much population. So I think if people don't want to have kids, that's great. I'm cool with you doing what you want, but don't make it the reason kids kill your net worth. That's so true. I'm the reason I'm broke, not my kids. Exactly. I think, people that are in a very bad financial situation, or that just, tragically end up being single parents and stuff like that. Like, I get it. That can be very tough. But yeah, just if you're in a decent financial spot, don't be sitting there saying, like, it's because, just say you don't want kids. It has nothing to do with killing your net worth. You just don't want the responsibility. And that's totally okay.
3% of households, and that's about a 7% increase from a decade previous.
I'm also not surprised by these statistics because of how much COVID got people to realize how much they don't need other people. I think COVID really got people to realize how much they like being just alone and kind of having a social bubble and whatnot. I think it was good for people. I think it was bad, obviously, for a lot of people socially, but COVID definitely made me realize, like, how much I don't need to, like, go out and do shit. It let a lot of people do kind of some deep soul searching.
In 2022, 43% of Americans surveyed said they'd want to get married.
Do you want to get married in the future? This is what an American poll, 43% say yes, 34% say no, 23% say not sure. I feel like this is pretty standard. I feel like if I went down and polled people, this would probably be about the same. It also depends on who you're asking, what age group, all of these kinds of things. But, majority of people want to get married or are unsure and can be swayed both ways. Normal to me.
But just a little more than a quarter said they were sure about wanting children.
Do you want to have a child in the future? 56% say no, 46% say not sure. Yes, decline to answer, the typical. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. So out of my friends, Evan definitely has said, like, not most of, I don't think any of my friends are truly against it. Like, they would say, like, don't want, like, 100% no. But I know, I mean, a good couple of them are like, no, but a lot of them do sway more in, like, the not sure, just kind of have to continue to grow and realize what happens. So, I mean, this doesn't seem too crazy.
The term DINK is becoming more prominent now because of financial challenges, and they see children as just another financial challenge that maybe they don't want to take on.
I think that's also a thing. Everybody just looks at money now. Everyone looks at every decision they make based on what's this going to do to you financially, and that's smart to do in some ways. It's whatever. And if you want to, great. If you don't, okay. Plus now if you don't have kids, you're a damn dink. What a name. Yeah. I think the name is kind of rough.
So what's it like to live with a dual income and no children? And will it be the future of American house?
Oh, I can tell you what it's like. It's a damn good life if you know what you're doing with your money. When me and Megan then when there was no baby and we had combined incomes, I mean, we lived very fucking, like, again, we weren't like well off or anything like that, but I mean, ordering out as much as we wanted to. Oh, I want to go spend, $200, $300, $400 on this, for sure, why not? Now, I mean, yeah, I just have to budget, but I would definitely 100% say it's worth it. But that's just because we're not, like, I don't value my financials over, like, a kid or even like animals and shit like that. I feel like the type of people that make the decision for financial reasons, we're in the not sure category, and also have a lot of money stress. Exactly. No, yeah, that's 100% true.
Households. According to a 2023 survey of DINKs, finance played a major role in their decision to not have children. More than a quarter of respondents said they simply aren't.
Don't get me wrong. I think if you sit there and you think financially that you shouldn't have a kid, and you realistically you can't, I think you're making a great decision. I would much rather someone who's not financially able to support a child not have kids than just try and say, oh, maybe this will fix everything. I think that's a great decision to make. So these people, 33% said that they can't financially support a child at the moment. If those are people that actually know what they're talking about, what it costs every single month to have a kid, and then what the cost varies as they grow year to year, cool. Don't have a kid. Plain and simple.
Aren't able to financially support a child at the moment.
When we advise clients about having children, we honestly don't even give them the full real details and the real numbers. It's one of those things, if you actually see the math of it all, it might make you decide to not have children.
It costs the family an estimated $310,605 to raise a child born in 2015 to age 18, adjusted for higher future inflation. And that doesn't even include the cost of college.
So if you look at inflation, within the childcare market, it surpasses general overall inflation within.
Childcare prices are insane, and this I do agree with people on. It is definitely, it's gotten really tough to want to try and like put a kid in daycare and stuff like that, because your kid's not getting as good of care as they would if they were at home with you and all that, and everything is just way more expensive. That if you are somebody that, in like my case, for example, was only making $15-$20 an hour, it is literally cheaper if there's enough money to be made. Like, you save money by not having the job. If you're a coupled relationship, obviously, if you are parenting together, normal, healthy relationship, right? Let's just make that very clear. Like, it was actually cheaper for us. So we would have netted losing money if I kept my job and we had to pay for daycare. How crazy is that? Childcare's burglary, $300 a week for my kid. Yeah, that's insane. Exactly. It's ridiculous.
The economy.
And what's even worse, I'm gonna get like, just a smidge bit of parent mode, but almost all of these daycares that these kids go at are shit too. Even the ones that cost you so much money are shit. They're not sitting there helping develop your, like, young kid and stuff like that. It's shit. It's crazy.
Some couples are contemplating having children at the same time that they're still paying off student loans.
Exactly. And the teachers still get paid like shit like anywhere else. So why would you want to send them there? I don't blame the teachers for not giving 100% because they're getting underpaid.
Having children at the same time that they're still paying off student loans that they incurred when they were 18 to 22 years old.
One of my very closest friends, she's been struggling with the reality that the take-home pay she makes is about equal to what childcare would be. That's a really hard position to be in. Seeing our friends really struggle with that balancing act has, I think, made me appreciate.
Listen, I just happen to be lucky. It wasn't a struggle to make a decision, let me fucking tell you.
The flexibility that we have financially because we don't have children.
Besides saving on childcare, dinks can also fully reap the benefits of combining their finances.
To look at both of our incomes coming in and see how we're able to handle all of that because we don't have extra finances with a child, it's much more comfortable. We get to focus more on the things that we want to do and saving a lot of that money for the future.
Man, look at how clean that house is. Look at how clean that house is. Man, if they had kids, it would never look like that again. What are we watching? Why Americans are going child-free.
And worry less about the day-to-day finances of the house and our bills.
Money isn't the only expense that dinks can save on.
The free time is actually one of the biggest things for me. So,
see, I get it. I get that when you have a kid, you think, especially people that don't have kids, think like, oh, I don't want to, people think there's a difference between, oh, I'm never going to have free time and my free time is just going to be smaller and I need to just plan around. Because people sit there and say, oh, I'm never going to have free time. That's just a lie. Is free time very hard to come by in like the earliest of like the first couple months? Of course, man, 110%. Like that is so fair. Like, you know, I get it, but dude, like, trust me, all that time comes, and to me, it's well worth it. But again, to everybody else, they might have different.
So we built me a little office.
Yeah, see right there. I don't want kids because I don't want to pass on medical shit. Like that is, I look at a reason like that. I think that's totally fair. I want to adopt it. See, like that's also cool. Yeah, no one needs a reason. But definitely, like, I think that's a great outcome. I'm not sure why you guys have an issue with that. If someone thinks they don't want to be a parent for that reason, they shouldn't. Wouldn't feel bad because of regret lost time. No, I mean, like I said, you do you. But it's just don't think that you'll never have free time again because you will. It may not feel like it very early on, but you will.
Slash bedroom out here. We definitely have some more.
Oh, wait, hold the phone.
Office slash.
I know why you don't want a kid, because you're out here grinding. He's out here grinding. It looks more like home office. I don't think he's gaming. Rocket League takes up too much time.
True. Some more expensive hobbies. I build mechanical keyboards, like computer.
I stand corrected. He builds mechanical key. He's got a Stream Deck and everything.
Keyboards in my spare time, and just parts and stuff for that can be very expensive.
Kids and these dudes can't even put their laundry away. Fast on the bed. Yeah, exactly. 2 monitors mandatory these days. I 100% agree. Definitely plays Destiny 2. I could see it.
Not having children has given us the freedom to pursue other things, remodeling our home. I'm a beekeeper.
I'm really handy and I like doing stuff around the house. I wouldn't have the time to just do that after work if I feel.
Yeah, see, now let's take a look here. We're beekeeping. We have an electric fence. You don't need kids. You don't need kids. You're great. Don't have them. Totally.
I wouldn't have the time to just do that after work if I feel like it. If I had.
He plays Destiny 2 and she gets mad that he games. I can just tell. Oh, brother.
You know, a child to care for.
Fewer expenses leave dinks with more disposable income to play with.
Disposable income is power, it's stability, and for many couples, it's security.
The security that having 6 months of income saved for emergencies gives you, that security was so helpful to us.
I mean, listen, it just depends on your financial situation. We've still been saving money since we've had the baby, and again, we don't make shit tons of money. We're not so well off. Like we just budget, you know what I mean? And we're still saving money. But again, I totally get it. Not wanting to maybe give up some of your freedoms that come with disposable income. Fair.
During COVID, when I was out of work for 6 months,
Let's have like a smaller tractor style. Next year, we're gonna get a 0.
we have more tolerance for chaos, I think, because of our savings. Our new savings goal, which is like our shoot for the stars and hit the moon kind of, is saving $4,000 a month.
According to census data,
We definitely ain't saving $4,000 a month. That's fucking crazy. Good for them though, man.
Dinks can save 9% more for retirement each year compared to dual income couples with children.
Annual retirement savings. So Dinks with dual income, no kids, $4,800. Dual income with kids, $4,400. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is pretty a $400 difference. Yes, it adds up over time, but I think in the grand scheme of things, worth.
Another
for my
2021
opinion.
study found that childless adults aged 55 and older had a
Median net worth, dang. Oh, wait.
personal median net worth of $153,900, compared to $130,400 for biological parents.
If you have a dollar and if you have to choose how to use it,
I'm not missing that $400. Miss me with that low amount of money. Yeah, exactly. I think that right there, that more proves my point. Like, if it's about the money, if you're really that stressing over $400 or whatever.
a DINK can prioritize savings, retirements, investments, both in the equities market as well as things like real estate or second properties.
The hardest part of investing is just having the cash to do it. And so when you don't have your cash going to expenses that are related to children, that cash can go into those investment goals.
We started investing in our early 20s.
Good.
I feel really safe because we have this strong nest egg of ETFs that are accessible.
Let's also be real here. What I was talking about with, physical value of things. This is somebody who is working on a MacBook Pro. This is somebody who has a very nice slide-in oven. This is someone who, these are people that are, God damn it, I keep forgetting the word, materialistic. And that's cool. That's cool. I don't think you should judge others for having them. I think everybody should be entitled to just do whatever the fuck they want. But if these people, that's fine. As long as you're not sitting there hating on people that are having kids. Great. Got a nice house.
And fairly liquid. And then we also have our long-term savings, which are, tied up in IRAs. We can choose what our aging years look like.
We let's also not pretend like just because you have kids you can't sit here and invest money and save money. It is possible. You just have to budget well and have a decent job.
Because we've saved to plan for that eventuality.
It is well documented.
Cellular Apple Watch right here. So he's paying $15 a month most likely on Verizon because he wants the best service that is possibly out there. I mean, honestly, not great monitor. I was expecting something better. Yeah, I mean, the materialistic. I'm not surprised that these people don't, they didn't say you couldn't though. Yeah, no. It's fair.
That the younger you are when you start your savings and your retirement portfolio, the better off you are in the long run in terms of aggregate.
They may not have said it directly, but this video is certainly hinting at, these people are insinuating that, if you have kids, you can't invest. And that's just cap.
Savings and your ability to accrue savings and wealth.
Just take the $310,605 it would take for a middle-income married family to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
While child expenses can vary significantly by age and location, that could easily represent more than $15,000 in otherwise investable funds per year. Consider the power of annually compounding interest, and that $15,000 per year can grow to more than $500,000 in just 18 years, assuming 7% annual returns. This nest egg could also help Dinks secure more assets for themselves.
Dual earner adults living together who both have jobs and have been saving are really able to put a heftier, relatively large down payment on a home, which then reduces their monthly mortgage and has all of these other benefits. You're paying less interest over the long run.
I was fortunate enough to have a good little nest egg gifted to me by my grandparents, and that helped us buy our first house. But then from there, living in that house, living in a place with a lower cost of living like Utah, having dual income helped us build all this savings so that when we sold that home and moved to Massachusetts, we had an even larger nest egg that allowed us to buy a more expensive home in a higher cost of living area. I'm not totally sure where we would be if we had a child as well.
That extends beyond just purchasing a home. There are lots of big item, big ticket investments that
Big backyard for the animals that they love so much. I mean, this is materialistic. Nothing wrong with it. But let's just be these people, it makes perfect sense why they don't have kids.
There are lots of big item, big ticket investments that we tend to make earlier on in adulthood. To the extent that we can pay as much of it as possible up front, that does have a rippling benefit for us as we age.
But the rise of Dinks isn't such great news for the economy as a whole.
Here we go, boys. Buckle
lower
up.
Birth rates have been associated.
A lot of birth rates have been associated with slower economic growth. Well, of course, if people aren't making as much, they're not going to want to have kids. I think that makes sense.
With slower economic growth. And critical social programs such as Social Security depend heavily on population growth.
We shouldn't strive to have a generation of young adults that are not reproducing. That would not be healthy for society. It wouldn't be healthy for the economy. It wouldn't be healthy for us as we age. So there are a lot of reasons why we do want to take investments in the next generation seriously.
For Dinks, the biggest challenges are often not financial.
And I
Say being child-free makes them richer and more successful, even if it means putting up with judgment. See, that's where it's like, I don't think you should judge somebody. Again, that's just me. I don't give a shit that some of my closest friends sit there and say they don't want to have a kid. I don't care. Congratulations, good for you. Just don't come into my house with my fucking kid and be like, oh, what's this stupid little shit doing here? Like, just don't be a fucking asshole, and I don't care what you do about almost anything. But yeah, I definitely don't care if somebody doesn't want kids. That's not going to impact the way that I look at somebody. Is it going to impact the way I look at the Karen down the road that complains because kids are sitting outside just hanging out? Yeah, I think she's annoying. But I wouldn't really come at her person just because she complains about some kids outside, but it is what it is.
I think we freaked a lot of people out when we were just a young married couple, and that was all. There was no baby afterwards. I had
Good for you. If they were in their 20s, already a house, banging, saving money, investments and whatnot, like, you're doing great. 100%. I certainly wouldn't judge you just for saying you don't want kids.
family members asking if something was wrong because it's been 5 years of
Well, of course. I mean, you can't be surprised if you're 25 and then all of a sudden at every, family reunion, 90-year-old grandma's not sitting there being like, oh, when's the grandkids coming? I mean, that's just expected. You've got to expect that, I think, in almost any family, and especially the older generation.
a young, healthy couple not producing a child.
I think that there is a self-care aspect that is minimized when you're a dink. So there are many mom groups or, daddy daughter dances. There aren't groups for, hey, I'm a professional woman and I just want to go home and read a book and take care of myself tonight.
Yeah, there are. It's called /read on Reddit. There are plenty of absolutely things out there for single people or just couples that don't have kids. What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Do almost any hobby. It's like, that's weak. I don't know. That's weak.
I think on the other side of that, there can be times where in certain circumstances and circles, it's harder to make friends.
There is also the potential for more financial responsibility from other families.
I can understand that. I mean, before I had kids, it is sometimes tough to relate to somebody who, has kids and stuff like that because you don't fucking know. You don't have kids. Same with just 1,000 other things. If you've never had a dog, it's hard to relate to someone who's a huge dog lover just on that perspective, but there's 1,000 other things that you guys can relate about. So I don't know. When I didn't have kids, I had plenty of friends that had kids. I had plenty of friends that didn't have kids. And it's not really too difficult, I think.
Family members.
There could be additional pressure as dinks get older for people within their family to assume that they can take care of certain obligations. For example, if you have an aging parent, dinks might be the ones that are relied upon because it's presumed you have disposable income or you have disposable time to take on these.
And I think this is something that the older generation does that is completely wrong. I think this is something that it is so wrong that the older generation thinks that just because you get old and I raise you that you need to take care of me. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. My dad has always said, like, I don't want to be a burden when you get older. You do you. I'll hopefully be here as long as I can. Same with my mom. I think my mom will expect that I'd take her in when I'm older, but no. I think that I never will put on my child my care, my own care. Unless it's, if I need assistance, I'm like 50 and I get in some crazy accident, like that's one thing. But people that sit there and genuinely just think that because you raise them that they should take care of you, you're an idiot. You're an idiot like everybody else. That's an old-fashioned way of thinking. It's old and it's outdated.
These responsibilities.
According to experts, the number one advice for dinks is to prioritize savings and figure out clear goals for the future.
If anybody is considering becoming a dink, as a financial planner, I highly recommend that strategy. I recommend it to my clients when my clients tell me that's an intent.
Well, of course a financial person is going to tell you not to have kids. Because they get to invest more of your money and then they take more of a cut. Of course. What do you mean? That's like, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't think people could be shocked by that.
Intentional choice they're going to make. I am a big fan of it.
With that disposable.
If you talk to a financial advisor, of course they're not going to tell you to have kids. If you go and talk to a pediatrician, of course they're going to tell you to have kids. I mean, it checks out perfectly.
Income, make a budget. How do you want to spend it? Make sure you put aside some money for fun, but also make sure you put aside some money for investments, and they can be traditional or non-traditional investments, and then revisit it annually to make sure it still makes sense.
I think if you're considering not having children in your life, make sure your partner's on the same page as you.
I mean, yeah, this is a fucking given. I think before you get super, super serious into dating or, marriage, all that kind of stuff, you definitely should be on the same fucking page. I think if you want kids and your partner doesn't, you're asking for a disaster years down the line. Might not be immediate. It might not be in your 20s. Shit, you even might be able to go the whole, point of where you're actually able to have kids and not have any. But it can cause a lot of ripples all throughout the marriage or relationship.
And that you have confidence in that value in isolation without your partner too.
Yeah. Don't go into the dink lifestyle just like, I don't have kids, so I just have more money and can do whatever. It still takes the work of like planning for your future, putting money away. If you're not gonna have kids, make sure you still save money for your future, because the world is a weird place right now, and who knows what it's gonna be like in another 30, 40 years when we go.
That's the same guy that's buying the $30 Diablo skin portal. It's the same guy.
To retire.
Listen, I'm happy that those people don't have kids. I'll just leave it at that. Oh, why divorce is so expensive in the U.S. We're going to put that one for watch for later. All right, let's read the comments real quick. See if we've got anything in here. If you want people to have kids and stop making it impossible. Oh boy. Take it from a teacher himself. Having kids ain't for the weak. Children are put on a huge financial, physical, and mental strain on you. And a lot of parents these days don't want to actually parent or don't know how. This is actually definitely true. A lot of the reason that this here, honestly, financial, physical, mental strain that people claim come with kids are self-inflicted because they're actually dog shit parents and they just don't want to admit it. It is what it is. People hate to have that uncomfortable conversation and they hate to admit when they're wrong, especially when it comes to parenting. It's one of the things where people are the most ignorant, but it's the truth. If you're not ready to step up and do the work of being a mom or dad, then don't have kids and that's completely okay. Exactly. If you know you're not built for it and you don't want to do it, great. Watching what's going on in public schools right now is the best birth control. That's fair. Or support people who be child free. Not everyone has the ability to be a good parent. I used to work as a teacher. Most of the parents I met were horrible people raising little monsters. I got so tired dealing with them, I quit teaching altogether. See what I mean? It is not for everybody, for sure. All these comments of people insulting people for not wanting to have kids is weird and unsettling. Yeah, I mean, it's opinionated people, of course. What can you expect? Most of us can't even afford to get a house. How the hell are we going to afford to have a kid? I don't know. That's it. I think it's just such an individual basis, and for some it makes sense. For some it doesn't. Do whatever the fuck you want.